Good morning, everybody, and that music must mean one thing. It's time for Title Time. I'm your host, Jason, and with me, as always, is my ragtag team of the Toilets to Titles members. First thing I want to mention before I get into introductions is a thank you to the team last week who covered for me when work got in the way. I appreciate you guys jumping on and taking over when I couldn't be here, so thank you guys. All right, so introductions. First to my right, your left, Mark. Good morning, Mark. How you doing?
Good. How you doing? I'm finally excited for football again. The Rams got all our players back, and now we don't have a game to watch.
But no, it's nice. You know, win, lose, or draw, it's nice to play on Thursday night and then just be able to enjoy fantasy football on Sundays sometimes. Sure. Like, it's the one thing that, like, makes playing on Thursday night bearable is not having to worry about your own team.
100%.
Justin, I know you just had surgery, so you're a little bit under the weather, but you're playing injured, unlike some people we got. So, how you doing this morning?
Yeah, I couldn't have George making up crap about my stub toe again, so I thought I'd be here to tell the story myself. But no, I'm doing good. Got back from a nice vacation with the wife and had a little nasal surgery, so you might hear some sniffling throughout the day. But appreciate you putting all this together and you guys holding down the fort for the last week and a half. It's been nice to get a little break.
Yeah, I do have to say it has been it's been an interesting week without Mom around, but now that she's back and almost healthy, she's whipping us back into shape. So it's good to have you back, Justin. And I will say that it's most likely that after some time away with your wife, that's probably why you needed the surgery. She hit you, I'm sure. Blink twice if you need help. Okay. And then in Rikers down below me, live from the prison, we've got Frito Bandito.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good. This is actually my last day of vacation, so been kind of enjoying it and stuff like that, taking care of some stuff that I've been needing to take care of. On a side note, I do want to say I don't know this gentleman above me, but next to you, Jason. He says it's Mark Simon, but he does not look familiar to me because he's not wearing a hat.
Yeah.
You know, I almost thought about that coming on. I was like, should I grab a hat? But no. Got a haircut, so, don't look
he
like...
he sounds like Mark. He sounds like Mark, but, man, I just can't recognize the guy.
Kind of looks like David.
Are you still holding on to that beating we put on you last Sunday?
Well, really, was it a beating? I don't know about that.
It was a close game. You guys almost came back.
All right, and then finally, down below, the man with the twins, fantasy genius, card break extraordinaire himself. David, how you doing this Sunday morning?
Hey, pretty good. We had our first UFC card break, and Mark can tell you in the very first one, we pulled a 1-of-1 on-card auto of the strawweight women's champs. So,
Zangali, I'll say it for you.
Yeah, good. So, everything's been going pretty good. The twins are good. Had our Halloween party last night. They're not scared of literally anything. I think that's because we watched so many scary movies when they were infants, just drinking their bottles, watching the TV, and they're not scared of nothing now.
Nice.
Plus, I've seen Dina Mad. Those movies are nothing to be afraid of compared to that.
It's true.
And David, I'm assuming after doing that UFC break, you watched all the fights yesterday, correct?
I have I have gotten the UFC app back, and I am watching the fights from the past and trying to catch, past the days of Tank Abbott, which is where I was at before.
There was
ways to catch up.
Yeah,
there was a double spinning back fist knockout last night.
Oh, I saw that on X. There's somebody posted a clip of that.
I have to check that out.
It was pretty nice to see. After when he would interview him, he goes, "That's my move. I'm patenting it."
That double spinning back punch, I think, is what caused Justin to need surgery.
Yeah.
All right. And as always, we're going to get into before we get into the questions, we're going to get into what's your favorite game that's not your team this week. But first, before that, I do want to mention patreon.com/toilets-to-titles, patreon.com/toilets-to-titles. We have a tier for basically every salary. So we start down low, we go up high. You can start at $2.99 and you can go all the way up to the tier where you get to perform surgery on Justin. So you guys, it's kind of like Operation, and if you hit the wrong spot, he howls. So we have, like I said, we have a tier for every salary. So with that, we will get into.
Hey, I got a question for you, Jason.
Yep.
Cowboys and 49ers. I just wanted to go first before anybody else took it. That's my game of the week. So we have the 3-3 Cowboys and the 3-4 49ers. Both of them vastly underperforming expectations for the season from the season start. Cowboys coming off of a bye week are typically a dangerous team to mess with and very good for fantasy football purposes. So this will be the week that we know for sure if it's time to bail on them or keep riding through. So yep, I got that out of the way. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to go.
5 minutes, he's making up rules already.
Well, it's funny because I was going to go to him first since he's injured, but so he didn't actually have to jump in front of everybody. I will, because you mentioned that game. A question I have for this week is anybody here? If you had him, would you start Debo? I've got him, but I dropped somebody to hedge my bet, and I picked up Tolbert just in case. Not that I think Tolbert is a Debo replacement, but if I want to start him, I've got Debo and I have Hopkins, and right now I have Hopkins on the bench, and I picked up Tolbert to hedge my bet. What would you guys do since we brought up that game? What would you guys do in that instance?
Debo is likely to play, so personally, I think if he plays, I have to play him. Hopkins is an interesting play. I think he'll play week 1 with the new team, but just a little. I don't know. It's hard to ever trust a Chiefs wide receiver and know which one's definitely is going to be it to begin with, unless it's Tyreek, and that's no longer a thing. So I think I'm going to stick with Debo if he plays.
I think the tough thing because I know Debo's looking likely to play, but you got to imagine having pneumonia like that had to have some issue. He has to have some lingering effects with his lungs. And, I'm not an athlete, but last I checked, when I tried to run, your lungs are kind of important for sport. So you just kind of wonder how much he's actually going to be out there. They're saying he's going to play, and how much of that is gamesmanship versus him actually being okay to play. Mark, do you agree with Justin there? Are you playing Debo over Hopkins?
Yeah, I'm with him. If he's playing, I'm starting him. My thing is, like you said, it was pneumonia. I'm sure there are some lingering effects, but maybe it takes away a couple snaps that he would have been out there that he's not out there. But it's not like an injury where you're worried he's going to re-aggravate something and be out for the game again. I think if he's playing, he's going to play.
And then you two down there, do you both agree, or is you guys have a different opinion?
Yeah, they have oxygen on the sideline. He'll be fine.
Yeah. If I got Debo, I'm playing him and stuff like that. Just temper expectations. This is a prime example of having a player out there for a decoy and everything. So it really depends on how the first drive goes. If you see him just running a route, I'd be worried and stuff like that with them not going to him. But if you see him involved, then I wouldn't be worried about it. So it's kind of right there in the middle where it's almost like if you have him, you have to start him in your lineup, especially this time of the year where injuries have been so bad and everything, and you probably have him and you got maybe the backup or the third string from another team, and like, oh, which one do I put? You probably want to go with Debo. So,
all right, and since we're all out of order, where Justin jumped in first, and then I asked a fantasy question before I got to the games. David, why don't you go next with the game that you want to pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Raiders and the Chiefs. The Raiders, they tend to play the Chiefs a lot harder than you would expect, even though I don't think they're in the same league right now, outside of maybe Max Crosby and Brock Bowers. The Chiefs have been playing down too this year, so I wouldn't sleep on the Raiders today. I have them, plus the points. I just, it's a game I'm interested in watching.
All right, and then that was kind of a gift to Frito down there, who's a Raider fan. So Frito, which game are you looking forward to?
I'm glad David picked that game, because here's the only thing I'm going to say: that they usually play them better when they're playing at Kansas City. Now, this is in Vegas. I still think they'll play them tough and stuff like that, but I'd be 100% on board with you on taking Raiders with that 8.5 points and stuff like that. Now, we'll kind of see how it goes, but my game of the week is actually the Arizona-Miami Dolphin game. Tua's first game back from his 4-week concussion kind of vacation, however you want to look at it. So kind of want to see how he goes. Tyreek said, get us on the field. The band's back. I truly want to see if the band is back. I know I don't remember seeing much on this, but someone mentioned like Tyreek might not even be in the game. So that's what kind of threw me off the last moment when I saw this yesterday. And I don't know if you guys have heard anything as far as Tyreek being out or anything like that.
I haven't yet, but I'm going to pay close attention to it because it would make sense, and here's why. I stole Tyreek Hill last week in Frankenstein, and Justin can tell you my track record for stealing a player and having them go out is pretty damn good. Nico Collins. No, I think I own Nico, but Nico Collins, Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon. Like, I am the Reaper in a monster league for stealing a player and having them be out the following week.
Yeah, before you jump to the next person, I just want to say, how about this past week Thursday night game with the Rams, Mark? Freaking all of a sudden, freaking Puka, freaking Cooper, man, they're both back, and look how different that team looks, man.
And Kyron Williams doing his thing still.
So I'll tell you, our offensive line is still bad, but Cooper and Puka get separation so quickly. Stafford doesn't have to stay back there. He can get rid of the ball almost immediately after the snap. That's what's making the difference. And I know Cooper didn't have a big game, but I mean, if you look at all the motions and the routes he's running that just fool the defense, he's such a big part of that offense.
Well, he drew coverage is what it was, and it allows Puka to get open early. He's covered single man and open so quickly. George jumps in and says Tyreek is playing, so that's good to know. And then I also, because we talked about the game, I'm going to jump, and I'll still give my game in a second. Because we talked to the game, I wanted to get to this one. Tua's back. Does that mean we should plug in Waddle and Tyreek this week? My other options would be Jaden Reed and Devonta Smith. Man, you know what? It's an actual question. I thought it was just kind of a, do you start these guys? And I mean, the generic answer is yes. But because we just talked about the game, Justin shook his head. So, Justin, do you play Tyreek and Waddle this week?
Tyreek is a lock for me if he plays and Tua plays, but Waddle is not. He's too inconsistent with or without Tua. You got Jaden Reed, who's been, for the most part, lighting it up, and he has big games. And then you have Devonta Smith without Dallas Goedert, who's going to also have another big game. I think that there's more likelihood of a consistent game, a higher floor with Reed and Smith than there is with Waddle. And the question marks of what is this offense going to look like with Tua back now. So I think I'd probably lean heavily towards Jaden Reed personally, along with Tyreek.
Yeah, I think my only worry about Jaden Reed this week, and I agree with you over Waddle, honestly. I'll let everybody else answer in a minute, especially because we've got a baby on board there. But my worry about Jaden Reed is how quickly Green Bay gets up on Jacksonville, and will they have to continue to throw the ball after that happens? But, Jaden Reed's been so dang good that it's a risk I'd be willing to take there. David, do you agree? Jaden Reed. Well, which would you do, or would you, Jaden Reed, Devonta Smith over Waddle?
Yeah, I'm doing Tyreek and Jaden Reed.
Right.
Waddle is just so inconsistent for me. He has these great games, and then he has these just terrible games where he's lucky to get a target. And Devonta Smith, I just kind of feel like the Eagles are not as dangerous as they were before. Beyond
AJ Brown,
no,
Saquon Barkley, yeah.
Oh well, okay.
and we have agreement down there too. And then we'll go to Rich. Do you agree? Are we doing?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on how you read this question. Okay, so what he's asking is Tua is back. Does that mean we should plug back in? He's not saying he has Waddle and Tyreek. I mean, I don't know if he has both of these if he has both of them on the same team, then definitely not and stuff. But if you have Waddle, I'm talking about other teams and stuff like that. It really depends on your options and stuff like that if you're starting both of them. But I'm actually, if he does have both of them, I'm definitely not playing both of them back the first week with Tua. I'm actually taking Devontae Smith over Jada Reed because of the fact, look, with Goddard being out, Smith didn't have a great game last week, and I feel like this is a bounce back game for him, and it kind of plays in his situation to have a better game than Jaden Reed this week. So I'd be going Tyreek and Smith, but if for any team out there, if you have Waddle with Tua coming back, it really depends. Like I said, it goes back to what I said a minute ago about what your options are at this point in the season with all the injuries and stuff like that. If you have Waddle, I'm probably playing him depending on the options I got. So.
Yeah, I think Waddle is not a bad play, but he'd be a bad play if your options are Jaden Reed and Devonta Smith, in my opinion. Mark, do you agree with that there?
Yeah, so to piggyback on what he was saying, I was going to say I like both Tyreek and Waddle coming back with Tua, but with Jaden Reed and Devonta Smith as my other options, I'm definitely starting Tyreek. But I would go, like Rich said, Devonta Smith. They have Cincinnati secondary they're going up against. I just think he's going to have a very big day today.
So that means we have a split.
So you had Smith. Well, I had Jaden Reed. So it's Jaden Reed 3-2. It would be a total split if George was here. So I won't even show his comment. But George is paying attention and says, good morning. Wish he was there this week. Have a great fantasy weekend. He wishes he was here because he's going to a baby shower and setting up a baby shower. I'd much rather be here too.
Yeah.
With that, the game I'm looking forward to seeing is that game. One of the games we were just talking about. It's the Bengals and the Eagles. We'll continue to see if the Bengals can claw their way back from another slow start. Potentially without T. Higgins. I didn't see if he's definitely out, but I saw that it was trending that direction when I was looking yesterday. But I think the Bengals do have enough there to challenge that Eagles defense, which has just been average. And then I want to see the Eagles offense, if they can play against what looked like a average at best Bengals defense. So I think that's going to be a fun offensive game. So it's one I'm looking forward to. Plus I had the Miami game, but I let Rich go first. So I had to pick another one. Getting to some of these questions up at the top.
Do I get a game of the week this week?
Oh,
No.
I didn't give you one?
No.
You had your game already. Go ahead, Mark.
Now, I should say Seattle and Buffalo because Seattle losing would be very good for us. But I'm excited to see famous Jameis play today. So I'm going to be tuning into the Baltimore-Cleveland game. It's always fun to watch Winston play.
I'll have you know I am starting him in the Scott Fish Bowl.
Nice.
I drafted him as Mr. Irrelevant in the Scott Fish Bowl. And sorry, I saw a baby.
Right?
I saw a baby with a helmet, so I got distracted for a moment.
You saw a baby with the Raiders helmet on. Hey, quick, since you guys did bring this up, look, Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens, with Jameis Winston starting, the spread is 0.7. Ravens are favored 7.5. Do you guys think that's fair with Jameis Winston being there?
Yes.
You think that's fair? Okay.
Yeah,
I still think yes, because they also lost Cooper. So, I mean, they don't have a lot of options on the offensive side outside of Chubb.
Okay, then the next
Joker,
question
baby.
is, who's taking the -7? Who's taking the plus? I'm taking the plus with the Browns.
I'm taking a plus because I feel like Baltimore always plays down to the teams in the division. I think it doesn't matter how bad the teams are in that division. Every divisional game seems to be close.
Yeah, I think it's fair because I think they are a team that's better by 7 points than the Browns, especially where they are right now. But I also can see it being closer, like Mark said, because it's divisional and the teams see each other so often. That defense hates the Ravens, so there's always scuffles. So I can see it being closer, but I think the Ravens are easily a 7-point better team than the Browns. Justin, you agree?
Yeah, I think it. I would still take the points. I think it's going to be close enough. I think they finish within the points. It'll be a close divisional matchup, and I need Lamar to have a huge week this week to keep an undefeated team undefeated. So it's probably not going to happen.
So we'll blame you when Vegas is wrong. So Steve says, "Good morning, kids." And then first question right out of the gate: Kraft or McBride? I got to go with baby helmet first. So Dave, go ahead.
I'm going with the more consistent with the less weapons. I'm going to go with McBride. I like Kraft. I like what he's doing. There's just so many weapons there in Green Bay.
And Justin.
I'm going to go with the matchup here. So because I think that this one could be really close either way. So give me Tucker Kraft in a much better matchup. The Dolphins are third against tight ends, and Kraft is going up against one of the worst tight ends or one of the worst defenses in the league against tight ends in Jacksonville. So,
all right, Mark.
I'm going with McBride. I'm going talent here. I think McBride's a much better tight end.
Did you hear that, Tucker Kraft? He doesn't think you're talented.
I think he said that he was going the right direction, but instead of talent, it should have been targets and everything.
Oh,
I'm going with the person that's going to have more targets and everything, and that is McBride and everything. I mean, I know they're playing against the Dolphins and they're good against tight ends, but if you watched last week's game, and I can't remember who they played last week, to be honest with you, but man, I mean, he stepped up when he needed to and everything, and I feel like he's the kind of tight end that when they need him to, he's a tight end that's going to step up.
I do enjoy. So it was 3-2, Steve, McBride to Kraft. I do think though that if Kraft is paying attention to the show, none of us would actually pick him if he was wasting his mornings doing this instead of whatever he needs to do to get ready for the game. So Steve's got another question here. PPR pick one. Bateman, Pittman, or Pearsall. I also have Sutton, but I'm sure none of you like him. Justin, how do you feel about Sutton?
It's never Sutton. I finally caved and played him recently in that week that he scored 0, and it made me realize just how stupid I was to ever believe that it ever could be Sutton. It's never Sutton. It's he's facing Carolina. It should be a great matchup. This should be the game where you start Sutton. That means he's going to piss you off and he's going to do poorly. So it's never Sutton.
All right. So who do you want to? I'll go ahead and start with you. Who do you want to go with here?
Man, this is a tough one, but I'm going to go with Bateman because I think the reason it's tough is I feel good about Pittman's floor this week against Houston. I think he's going to PPR. He's going to score about 10 points. He's going to be in that double-digit range. But Rashad Bateman going up against Cleveland, a depleted Cleveland team, and if the game is as close as some of us are projecting it's going to be, they're going to stay in that neutral game script where they're going to have to throw the ball. And Bateman's been more and more involved here lately. So he's had 8 targets and then 4. Well, he's had 4 catches each of the last 3 weeks with 2 touchdowns in those last 3 weeks as well. I'm not saying he's going to score another touchdown, but he'll be heavily involved. So I think he's probably going to be right there in line with Pittman. But if one of them has the opportunity for a touchdown or a bigger game, to me, it's probably Bateman.
Mark, do you agree there?
I'm actually going Pittman kind of for the same reason that he said to start off. I think Pittman has a pretty safe floor this week, and I think he's actually going to score a touchdown this week. And Bateman, I mean, he's your high ceiling. Like if you need a big game, risk it and throw him in there. I do like Persall, but later in the year. I want to see a little more for him. I mean, the 49ers did draft him to replace Ayuk, I think. So with him being out the rest of the season, I think we'll start seeing him come along, but I just think it's too early to trust him yet. So
not that I want to put my thumbs on the scale here, but I am surprised Pearsall hasn't been mentioned more, considering Jawan Jennings has a hip and Ayuk's out for the season. Debo, we don't know if he's going to be 100% go. Who is Brock Purdy going to throw it to? And that Cowboy secondary hasn't been great. So I am a little surprised he hasn't gotten more play in the first two answers here. But Frida, what do you think?
Yeah, you should have waited until you made that comment. I'm going Pearsall here. I mean, look, yes, he could get covered because of nobody else there, but if Debo is in there, look, Pearsall is going to have a decent game. I'm not saying he's going to have a Jawan Jennings kind of game, that first game that he had this season and stuff like that, but he is going to get some targets and everything. All good choices for this point of the season, but Pearsall, fresh legs. The fact that he's playing after getting shot in the chest at the beginning of the season, that's the reason I'm actually picking him is because of he's a gangster like that.
I saw a funny meme after last week's game that said your healthiest wide receiver is the guy that got shot in the chest two months ago.
Yeah. Yep. And then transfer, baby. All right, David, where are you headed here?
I'm going to go Bateman. They've been bragging about him literally, it seems, every offseason, and finally he's starting to show up. I have stayed off the train. I thought about picking him up in a few leagues last week, and I said, let me see what he does this week. And then I did pick him up in a few leagues. So Zay Flowers is a little banged up. I'm going to go Bateman.
All right. So it is 2 for Bateman, 1 for Pittman, 1 for Pearsall. Now, I would say if you need a floor play, I think, you know what, I'm not weighing in because we don't have a tie. I'll stay out of it. But, Steve, you could probably guess where I was going based on what I talked about earlier if you really wanted to know. Goat24 says, Frankenstank, sit one guy. Mayfield, Flowers, Cooper, Neighbors. We'll go with... okay, Rich is sitting Flowers. That's where I was going. I was going Rich anyway, so... Dave.
Yeah, it's Flowers.
Justin.
It's Cooper, Amari Cooper for me. I don't like that secondary at all for the Browns. I think Flowers and Bateman are both going to eat this week, and I mean, Cooper played well. Don't get me wrong, and I think that they want to utilize him. But if I'm just looking at the matchups here, Amari Cooper against Seattle, cross country. I don't know. Nothing stands out about that to me, especially knowing that there's 4 other options, receiving options for Josh Allen. They don't have to go to Amari Cooper. So unless they have to, I'm gonna sit Cooper this week and see what happens. I want to see another week of it.
All right, and then Mark.
I'm sitting Flowers. I think in the Baltimore-Cleveland game, if we're expecting it to be a closer game, I think it's going to be lower scoring. I don't think Cleveland's going to keep up with Baltimore in a 35-42 game where Flowers, Bateman, and all of them can go off. So I think Baltimore's offense is going to be a little limited this week. So I'm going to sit him and keep Cooper in there.
So no love for Jameis Winston.
Oh, I think Jameis Winston's going to play fine. He's going to play a lot better than your favorite human predator has played.
Human predator.
It is interesting Mayfield didn't get more play here, just given that his top 2 wide receiver options are gone, and what they have behind them is Sterling Shepard, Trey Palmer, and McMillan. I liked McMillan coming out of college. His season so far has not been great, but I guess the idea is you play a quarterback no matter what. Mayfield's been playing well, so hopefully we're trusting.
You got to remember, this is a Frankenstein question and everything.
Yeah.
And Frankenstein QBs, even in their worst games, still put up decent numbers and everything. And look, I know they lost Godwin and Evans and stuff like that, but look, with the still the team around him and stuff like that, you even have freaking Shepard there. Shepard is Mayfield. They played together even before here, back in college and stuff like that. I actually like Shepard compared to the other receivers they got. They're still going to get it done and everything. It ain't going to look as pretty as it did when the other two were in there, obviously. But Mayfield still has some options here and stuff like that, and he's shown he's a capable QB. So,
and they got the human pinball machine. K. Dotton just catches anything and bounces off of people when he catches it. Like, dude looked like a beast.
There were so many plays last week when I thought he was not going to get up from a hit.
Yep.
And he just bounced right back up. So, Krana says, "Morning, y'all. Hope we see Caleb versus Jaden today." So, my Frankenstein team hopes that too. Going with Bears 24, Commanders 21. If Jaden plays, and Bears 27, Commanders 17. If Mariota plays, should be good regardless. All right.
I just want to say, who thought at the beginning of the season that was going to be a good game? Everybody was excited to say number 1 versus number 2 pick, but nobody was like, oh, these guys are going to be in their division races and everybody's going to be hyped for these teams at this point of the season.
Well, listen, Chicago has been playing very well. Trying to cover your ears for a second. They haven't beat anybody. The teams they've beaten have all only have one win. So, yes, you can say you beat the people on your schedule in front of you, but, man, sometimes the schedule just loves you. And that's what I think we've seen. The Bears, when they were not playing well at the beginning of the season, they were playing better teams. Now they're playing – then they played an easy soft spot in their schedule, and we'll see how they do moving forward. Maybe Caleb's just figured it out, and the NFL slowed down a little bit for him. But maybe competition hadn't been that good.
You meant to say they played injured teams, right? Like they beat us. The Bears beat us.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, okay. Yeah, I mean when they beat you, you didn't have any players on your team. You were trotting. George was out
Is
there.
anybody shocked though that they're actually? It's looking like they're leaning towards playing Jaden this week with a rib injury. Like ribs are a big deal, and they have a good season going. Why not let them sit out a week and heal?
I'm used to
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
You put him back in there and he cracks that rib, your season's over.
I think part of it is Jaden. Jaden wants to play. He wants the challenge of number 1 pick versus number 2 pick.
Okay, and we saw what happened when Mike Evans wanted to go back out and play after he injured his hamstring. Now he's out till week 12. Sometimes these teams got to step in, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Mike Evans just wanted an extra break.
Well, I mean, he put him the now his 1,000-yard season is at risk. That string, he's pretty. It's going to be pretty tough for him to get that now.
He really hamstringed that one.
Yeah, he did. That's terrible. All right. Grana says,
David
we need one. Yeah, he should. After that, he should have. We need one here. Keenan Allen, Shakir, D-Hop, or Worthy, or Lockett with no DK or Neighbors PPR. Is anybody not picking Neighbors here?
Lockett with no DK or Neighbors. What does that mean?
Well, DK's not playing, so would you play Lockett? But
okay, Lockett with no DK or Neighbors. Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Is that
so? Is anybody? I think it's. I don't know. There's not a period.
Separate questions. It looks like.
Okay, well, we'll take it as 2 separate questions, or if it's all one question, everybody taking Neighbors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, if it's 2 separate questions, Lockett or Neighbors, everybody taking Neighbors.
Yes.
Okay, if it's 2 questions now, Keenan Allen, Shakir, D-Hop, or Worthy. I'm going to start with. Okay. I got Keenan
just
Allen.
Because I just threw it out there because I think this one's easy.
It's Keenan Allen, and I mean he has the best matchup hands down here.
Yeah.
All right, 2 for Allen. Mark?
Yeah, I mean, it's between Allen or Shakir for me. I think I lean Allen, but I think it's close.
All right, coming off a 2-touchdown game. I saw you nodding when he mentioned Shakir.
Yeah,
Down
look,
there, Rich.
since you guys went Allen, I'm gonna go Shakir. It was between those two for me too. But I'll be the odd man out and say Shakir here and stuff like that because with a Cooper there and everything, it does take some focus off of Shakir. So I do like Shakir.
All right, Rich says those hips don't lie. All right. Purdy said, or Goat24 says Purdy or Murray. And with Rich playing the different, I'm going to go with Rich first here.
I think hands down, this is probably going to be one of the easiest questions, and I might be wrong on this, but you play Murray. Purdy doesn't have the options that he normally would and everything, so I like Murray in this one.
All right, that's 1 for Murray. I'm going to stay at the bottom, David. You're next.
I'm going to go Murray as well.
2 for Murray, and then Justin.
Did you say Murray has a really good matchup?
No, I didn't say he had matchup. He just doesn't have the options. Purdy doesn't have the options like he normally would.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Okay. Oh man, I still think it's tough because Purdy still plays well with his other options when they have to step up. Dallas is bad. Like that defense, they really let me down this year. Man, but they are coming off of the bye week. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Murray, but I'm not super confident about it.
All right, and then Mark, what do you got?
I think it is close, but I go Murray because I think you beat Dallas by running on them. And I think that's what the 49ers are going to do. So I think you're going to see a lot more for Mason and them, but I'll stick with Murray.
All
Yeah,
right,
I think the only reason why this makes it, for me, not so close is because of the fact that Jennings ain't playing either. If Jennings was in there and stuff like that, I might be looking at this a little bit more tougher and stuff. But the fact that Jennings is not playing, obviously Ayuk is out, and we just don't know where Debo is and everything, that's kind of why it makes it more easier for me on this question.
Somebody in one of my leagues picked up Dalvin Cook. Do we know anything? Is Dalvin Cook actually going to play today?
He was just activated to the main roster for the first time. That's where all the talk.
Yeah, I saw a lot of movement too this week with Cook. I saw a lot of movement with Cook this week through a lot of my leagues. People trading for him, picking him up and everything. So I don't think you play him this week, especially against the 49ers and stuff like that. But good pickup or add for, obviously, we've seen what the run game has been with the Cowboys and everything. So
I think we saw the end of Cook in New York. What did we see back then that makes us think now he's going to start playing again?
Right.
He's well rested. All right. Krana says Pollard, Najee, or Chubb? And we'll start that question off with David.
I don't want to go first. I'm going to go Najee. I've avoided him most of the season, but lately he's been utilized a ton. He's running hard. The Steelers are playing tough, and the Giants just don't scare me at all. I'm going to go Najee.
That defense hasn't been bad though. That's
Their
been one
defensive
surprise.
line. Yeah.
That's one surprise of the Giants, that defense has played better than we all expected.
That's not a surprise for me. I said that their defensive line was going to be legit from the gate. There's so many big names up there. Just the rest of their defense is a little soft, though.
Rich.
Yeah, I'm going Najee too. I'm avoiding Chubb because of the playing against the Ravens, even though I think that will be a good game where they utilize the run a lot, but I'm just kind of avoiding him. Pollard's playing against the Detroit Lions. I know their defense is kind of took a step back with Hutchinson being out. I just think Najee looked good last week, man, especially the last 2 weeks. Especially with Wilson in this last week, he just looks energized and ready just to carry that team on his back.
And then Mark.
It's Najee for me. Baltimore is a top 10 defense against the run, so I'm not starting Chubb against them. Pollard they are missing Spears, but they're going against Detroit, which I don't think Detroit is as good against the run as they were before they lost Hutchinson. But I think Najee against the Giants is just a slam dunk for me.
I think what's interesting with Pollard is Detroit's actually still pretty good against running backs and good against the run, but I think they allow a lot of points to receptions from running backs. So I think like a player like Pollard may get a little bit more score there. My worry with Pollard this week, and I'll let Justin answer in a second. My worried with Pollard this week is you still have Mason Rudolph at quarterback there. It's not like it doesn't really matter what quarterback they have there. Their like opportunity to score is lower than you'd want it to be compared to like the rest of the NFL because their offense is so inept. So like Pollard's opportunities to score here are not that great. So Justin, were you going to say Pollard and I just crapped all over it, or where we go?
Yep, you said exactly everything I was going to say, but I will say that he doesn't have as much of an opportunity to score, but this says PPR at the end of the second question, so I'm going to assume this is PPR for the first. Mason is not a gunslinger like Will Levis is that's going to try to just launch the ball down the field. More of a dump-off guy. I'm going to go with Pollard and get those PPR points.
All right, so it's 3 for Najee, 1 for Pollard. Speaking of limited opportunity to score, Mark, we're going to start with you. Brown or McMillan?
This is a slam dunk. Chase Brown over McMillan. Chase Brown's going to score today.
All right, Rich.
And a little bit breaking news. It says Nico is on track to be back.
Yeah, I saw that. Week 10. We still got a little bit, but
I need it. Yeah. So do the Texans.
So does CJ Stroud.
Rich.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna jump on Chase Brown here. To me, I know a lot of people are high on McMillan, but I think he's the third, fourth option there behind Shepard, Otten, and Trey Parker. So
as a Bucks fan, I'll disagree behind Parker, but I will say the order you messed up was Shepard, Otten, whichever running back is on the field, then probably McMillan, then Parker. So like you're not wrong. Just got the order out of whack a little bit. All right, David.
See, my problem with McMillan, who I absolutely love, I think he's going to be fine, is he hasn't caught up to the NFL game yet. He seems nervous, drops a lot of passes, slows down when he shouldn't, speeds up when he shouldn't. He just got to get his timing down. He'll be fine. And that's why I'm going with Chase Brown this week, because I don't think he's going to suddenly be fine all of a sudden when, he has the opportunity to be fine. So I'm going to go with Chase Brown.
Whichever player they put in the slot is the guy that they trust. That's the Cooper Kupp rule. Go ahead, Justin.
You keep commenting everything I'm about to say. So my thing about McMillan is I do think it's not going to take very long, maybe another week or two, and he will be the de facto outside wide receiver. But just as Jason was saying, they love the slot guy. But not only that, this week they play Atlanta, and Atlanta has given up a lot of fantasy points to wide receivers, most of those being in the slot. So for that reason, I'm on Sterling Shepard this week as well, and maybe even for most of the season. But I think there will be games and spots where we can start McMillan later on, so don't drop him. But for this game, you got to stick with Chase Brown.
All right, that is a clean sweep for Chase Brown.
Can I just say, Justin, I think you, based off of what you're saying, you like slot, right?
Yes, but I'm also not I'm not going to jump on Chase Brown like you said. That just seemed a little kinky for me.
Scoring opportunities abound. Krana also asks Monty or Rashad White this week. Who haven't I started with? Justin, go ahead so I don't steal your thunder.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you very much. I guess, man, this one's tough. I think I'm going to go with Monty. I think they have the lead early in that game, and they're just going to run the ball out, run that clock down. I think it'll be a quick game. So Give me David Montgomery. Give me all those garbage time, even if he only gets half of the series in that split. He should rack up a lot of fantasy points.
Mark, you agree there?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked what I saw out of White last week, but my fear is if they can't move the ball through the air, that they're just going to load up the box and it'll be tough for him. But so I'm going to stick with Monty, but I do like what I see out of White.
So I'm going to steal somebody's thunder here, and I'll talk again. But White, where his best game is actually through the air. On the ground, it's okay. But I think he had 2 touchdowns last week. I think both were on receptions. So listen, it'd be hard for me not to start Monty in almost any game this year. Like he's just that Detroit rushing offense is just so good. But just mentioning as far as if they stack the box, that plays kind of into some of Rashad's strengths. Go ahead. Let's see. David's a statue, so I'm going to go with Rich.
Yeah. I like both options, but if I'm gonna pick between these two, I am going Monty. Yeah, great options. That's all I can say. Monty.
All right, David.
I'm going to make it a clean sweep and go Monty. And then for the next part, I'm going to go JSN.
All right, and that is without DK Metcalf. So thumbs up from Rich there. Top 2, do you guys agree as well? Nope. Okay, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Flowers again. I think that both of these wide receivers are going to eat, especially in PPR formats. I'm not saying they're going to score a lot of touchdowns, but Seattle going up against that Buffalo secondary that seems to be getting a little better each week to me, and they're able to get to the quarterback a little bit better here in recent weeks. I'm going to go with Flowers.
All right, and then Mark.
JSN for me.
All right, 3 for JSN. I'm okay. Like I like the Flowers start, but the one thing I do worry about, and again, we talked about it being a conference game or like a divisional game, but I do worry that Baltimore gets up early and then can salt it away, and Flowers doesn't get as many opportunities as JSN, where the Seattle Seahawks may be chasing the Bills. So there would be a lot more. That would be my only worry there. So
the other problem is he's coming on with an ankle injury, and he's one of those guys who relies a ton on his speed. He's fast. He gets the separation, and he's not going to get that as much with a bum ankle. He's still going to get his opportunities, but again, with a bum ankle, they're going to look to Bateman's way. They're going to look likely in Andrews, etc. They just and they're going to smash the rock with Derrick Henry.
Title Tribe, you heard it here first in football. Speed is important, just in case you didn't know.
Very.
Crana says, "Oh, they must have given Rich a conjugal. He went to hop on Chase Brown because he had to take off for a second." Crana says, "Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Bateman," and I will start with Mark.
This hurts, but Marvin Harrison Jr. for me. I'm a big Olave guy, but I think with Rattler as the quarterback, I think you got to go Harrison Jr. here.
Justin.
Man, Olave and Marvin Harrison Jr. both have pretty tough matchups this week. I'm putting a lot of eggs in this passing game for the Ravens that historically has not been good. But these are some decent options too. The talent is definitely with Marvin Harrison Jr. or Olave as far as individual wide receivers go. Rattler, no, that one definitely rattles me away from Olave. But yeah, I guess I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison. No, you know what? He's been down. I'm going to go Bateman. I'm going Bateman. Obviously, I'm not very confident in that, but I'm going Bateman.
All right, 1-1. David?
I am more confident in it. Olave, even with Carr, wasn't looking that great so far this year. It was a lot of Rashid Shaheed and Taysom Hill. MHJ, I love the talent. I just need to see it more frequently than I've seen it. So I'm going to go with Bateman.
All right, 2 for Bateman, 1 for MHJ. And Rich?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Bateman too.
3 for Bateman. All right. And then I do want to throw out this. God, these are a phrase that almost nobody but his mom has ever said. Man, you really miss Carr this week. If you're an Olave guy, because Shaheed's not there. Taysom Hill's coming back from an injury. You don't know how good he's gonna there's nobody else to throw it to, and yet somehow you still feel like Rattler won't throw him the ball. So it's really tough on that end to play anybody here besides Bateman. I don't know. I like MHJ this week too, but I don't know. He looks disinterested in some parts of the game when he's not the main target.
Has Olave played a full game with Rattler yet? I think he got hurt in the first game.
He did the first series.
Yeah.
First game, first series.
And then he was out last week.
And out, with the same concussion. So, all right, and then part 2 of this, Javonte Williams or Waddle in a flex PPR. Is anybody going Waddle here?
I'd never go Javonte Williams. So,
I mean, Javonte
Williams the last 3 weeks, and now
exactly.
he's facing.
What have you been watching?
And when you put him in, see what happens. Now it's
been
playing.
Yeah, I've been putting him in. I've been seeing what's happening.
They're playing the Panthers.
We also played him the first 6 weeks too. So
no,
I didn't play him at all those weeks. I mean, the first few weeks, I just left him on the bench.
The right time.
All right, so
anybody want a board bet this week? Waddle versus Javonte.
Yeah, I got.
I'll take it.
I already have the board bets pulled up.
Let's do it.
All right. Is anybody not taking that board bet?
No.
All right.
So we're all taking it.
That's easy 4 victories for me.
We got to figure out what he.
Mark, hey,
we have to
go put your hat back on.
We have to figure out what Mark has to dip chicken tenders in if we win.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I mean, I'm still letting you eat chicken tenders. It's just finding a dipping sauce.
I don't do sauce.
All right. Krana says, Kraft or Otten? Anybody doing Otten? Or anybody not doing Otten? Okay, all on Otten side there. Reed or
no, wait. My fault. No, I'm going with Tucker Kraft.
Okay.
I didn't hear you right.
Okay, is anybody besides Justin doing Tucker Kraft? No. Okay. And then Reed or DJ Moore, and I will start with David.
DJ Moore.
And I get a nod down there from Rich, so it sounds like he's agreeing. I got a weird face there from Mark with his mouth all to the side, so he's thinking about it hard. Go ahead, Mark.
I'm going Reed. I'm going Jaden Reed.
Okay, 2 for Moore, 1 for Reed.
I'm going Reed also.
Okay, so we are tied 2-2. I am a well-known DJ Moore hater, so I'm going to go Jaden Reed as well. So that's 3 for Reed and 2 for Moore. And let's see, last one here.
If you hate DJ Moore, are we allowed to hate you? Jesus,
absolutely.
How do you hate DJ Moore?
DJ Moore is a good wide receiver like 3 times a season. And he gets a ton of points those games. I mean, look at his year last year. Something like 25% of his points came in one game.
Sounds a lot like Javonte Williams, just not as good.
Okay. We don't have time for this argument, but this sounds like a sidebar episode.
We will move.
You're wrong.
We're gonna move on to B-Rob or Tony Pollard, and I'll start with Justin.
Oh man, you would. Oh, so B-Rob, I'm guessing, is Brian Robinson and not Bijan Robinson, right? So
I would assume so, yeah.
Man, I do love the dump offs there, but I think with Washington more likely to be a positive game script or at least neutral. So I'm going to go with Brian Robinson here.
Brian Robertson. All right, David.
Yeah, I'm going to go with B-Rob no matter which one of them it is.
B-Rob, okay.
Well, I guess that's fair.
Mark.
B-Rob for me.
And Rich.
Yeah, thanks for saving me for last because I do have a spin-off on this question. I'm going B-Rob and everything, but I want to ask you guys, this is personally for me in a league. B-Rob or Jonathan Taylor?
Taylor for me. When he's healthy, I'm playing him.
I agree.
Well, that's who I have in there, but man, Brian Robinson has been having a great season and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
That's what. It's the only reason. So real quick, here's my running back options. I have Henry, Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Brian Robinson, and Mostert.
How many flexes do you have? Can you get them all in
I'm
there?
a Colts fan. I'm the Colts fan, and I'm going with Brian Robinson in this one.
I mean, you're the Colts fan who always goes against Colts players. So.
I know, but look how right I've been. Like, I know this team inside and out, and I'm telling you, Jonathan Taylor, he only had 10 points against Houston in week 1 when they were supposedly running the ball like crazy, and they did run the ball a lot. He still only got 10 points against them in week 1, and now he's nursing this injury. And guys, I've seen Jonathan Taylor injured or nursing an injury. I'm shocked he's coming back this soon, and he's been out 2 weeks longer than he probably should have been, or at least a week longer. He's gonna pull himself out a lot. You're gonna be watching the screen. He's gonna have this awesome 10-yard run. He's gonna look up and he's gonna be like, and he's gonna take himself out of the game for probably 2 series. Like, the dude's just not gonna play that much. It's just how he is. Like, I'm worried about it. I'm going Brian Robinson.
All right, Robinson. That's 2-1, and then David.
I'm going to go Brian Robinson as well. Sorry, Rich. Also, I want to know who you fleeced in your league to get Barkley and Henry.
Is the league that Justin left and I took over for?
I left
All
the league.
right.
Generally aware league.
Oh, gotcha. Oh no, that team was stacked. Yeah, I had an awesome team there. I just couldn't do Dynasty any longer.
Well, let's go back to helping our viewers here, and we'll ask the last question of Monty or Dobbins.
You're welcome, Rich.
And I'll start with Rich.
Monty.
David?
I think I'm going Dobbins here.
It is a very juicy matchup. Mark?
I was just going to say, you can run all over the Saints. I'm going Dobbins.
And Justin?
Yeah, I want both. But I guess I'll go Dobbins.
The Saints gave up over 200 against the Bucs and made Javonte Williams look like a stud. Like, that Saints defense is bad on the ground. So, yeah, it's 3-1 Dobbins over Monty. Goat24 says start one running back, one wide receiver, or it looks like one running back, one flex. Chubb, Rashad White, Bigsby, Dubs, and Worthy. Let's see. We'll start with Justin.
Hold on, I was typing something else. Start one running back between those guys.
And then choose whether you'd start the other one of these other running backs versus those two wide receivers.
So Bigsby is definitely interesting with ETN being out against the Packers. The problem is if they go down, then this becomes a what's that other dude's name? An Ernest Johnston game, because he's more of the receiving down back when ETN's not in there. So and this easily could become that. But I think that Bigsby, because he still had 2 receiving touchdowns himself, I think so, like last week or something, or no, they were rushing. They were both rushing
touchdowns. Yeah.
Bigsby was just too good. I know it was against the Patriots, but I don't think I can bench him in this situation. Chubb's got a tough matchup. White, we don't know what that offense is going to look like. So give me Bigsby. Am I just doing the one running back for now?
You can do both.
Okay. If I can do both, then I'm probably going to go ahead and throw White in there as my flex. Stick with 2 running backs.
All right. I see some nodding. Okay, so Rich is on board with that, so we'll jump over to Mark.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm going White and Bigsby. The only reason I'm leaving Chubb out is because of Baltimore's rushing defense. I don't want either of the receivers. So,
what's funny there is the Ravens were giving up a lot on the ground last week to Tampa, and it was just because a team actually was willing to come out and run on them. I don't know if their run defense is all that great, or just you get so far behind so quickly against the Ravens that you can't run anymore. But but I get what you're saying. The rush defense has been pretty good. David, where are you at?
I'm gonna go Bigsby and Dobbs.
All right. So we are all in favor of Bigsby and all in favor of White, except for David, who wanted Dobbs. So it's Bigsby and White. And then my son says, hi, good morning, Eli. How are you this morning, bud? I saw you super early. You should sleep in some more while you're young. Krana says, Olave or MHJ in a PPR? Oof. Rich.
Answer this, right? Or
Did we? No, we
No,
didn't.
it was a different question,
We
but
all
the
went
same
Bateman.
two
Yeah.
players in there, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
so
going Marvin Harrison.
yeah, I think everybody said Marvin Harrison over this group. And then Kyler, Tua, or Bo Nix in a 6-point passing touchdown. And this one's a little more interesting with Bo Nix playing well as of late.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm going Tua.
Okay, Tua. Justin.
I have this exact dilemma actually in the Frankenstank. And let me look this up. So Bo Nix going up against Carolina. I think that's a team that he can also run on. We know he has the legs. Tua, first game back against Arizona, also a great matchup. Tua has the better weapons, but man, I guess I would go Tua. This is a Frankenstein dilemma for me, so I'm going with Bo Nix just so I can try to steal Joe Burrow from Mark if I beat him. So there's that. But
You can have whoever. That team's dead.
but other than that, I think I would probably lean Tua here if I actually had to try to throw out for a win.
All right, and then Rich.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Tua too. I think he comes out and really wants to show everybody that I know y'all wanted me to retire, but look, I can still play this game. I'll take the chances of getting concussions.
It is pretty amazing how good of a coach Miami looks like they have when Tua's playing, and how bad of a coach he looks like when literally anybody else is playing quarterback.
So I saw a meme online where the question was, Tua, are you going to wear a Guardian cap? And he had a Cleveland Guardians hat on. So yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean that's another potential that is a potential outcome where he comes out and gets his bell rung and it's over. So hopefully that's not the case. Let's see. Krana says roll with Burrow with potentially no Higgins, Gina with no DK, or Kirk 2 chains in a 6 passing touchdown lead. Well, I mean, Mark said his team with Burrow is dead. What do you think about this question?
It's Burrow very easily for me. Gino sucks, and not having DK is going to hurt him big. And the way Kirk looked last week against Seattle was awful. Yeah, I wouldn't even touch. Yeah, it's Burrow very easily.
Did you see
I mean,
Kirk
Kirk
last
is
time he played the Bucks?
I don't know. Seattle's secondary is so bad, and he couldn't do anything against them.
Justin.
Yeah, I'm not saying that Kirk Cousins is going to go out there and get 509 yards and 4 touchdowns against Tampa Bay again. But I'm saying if he gets half that, he still beats these other 2 guys. So I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins.
Rich.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna roll with Justin and go with Mr. Kirk 2 chains.
And then Dave.
I don't know if half of that beats Burrow, but it will beat Gino. But I'm still going Kirk.
So half would be 250 and 2 touchdowns. You don't think that beats Burrow?
No. I think it'll be close with Burrow, but I don't know that it beats him outright. I could see Burrow getting 250 and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, I see what you guys are doing. You all think Chase Brown's going to go for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's why you don't like Burrow this week.
No, he's playing Philadelphia. It's not like Philadelphia's weak right now.
Just go along with it, all right? You don't have to be serious all the time.
I'm trying to think. I'm thinking board bet here with David. So David, 250 and 2 touchdowns. I say Burrow does less than that this week.
I'll take that.
Are we doing less than that, or are we doing Kirk Cousins straight up against Burrow? Like, what are we?
Well,
No,
I
we're
think
doing-
Kirk
we're doing
Cousins
less
to
than
Burrow
that.
straight up is way too easy. It's going to be Kirk Cousins by a mile.
Well, I'll take the Kirk versus Burrow this week then. Let David take the prop bet. I'll take Burrow versus Kirk.
All right.
Now, is that prop bet just fantasy points of what 250 and 2 touchdowns would be?
No,
So
250
like
yards and 2 touchdowns.
203 touchdowns, that's more than 250 with 2.
No, he has to get more on both ends. It's 250 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I'll still take it.
So if he throws for 225 yards and 4 touchdowns, you're going to say David lost?
Yeah,
Well,
That's
yeah,
not-
because I
that's the
said
bet he took.
Right,
Yeah,
but you
that's-
said
Yeah,
Kirk's
David,
straight up.
David's
Half
getting
of Kirk's
screwed on this bet.
500.
Like you're having too many contingencies on the bet.
I said
Well-
that 250 yards and 2 touchdowns is going to be better than what Burrow does. Now, I mean, if he has 4 touchdown passes, yeah, that's a good fantasy game. But if he throws for less than 250, then he didn't have a great passing game. He just threw for 4 touchdowns.
Right, but
That would
fantasy
still
point is what we're talking
outscore
here. He would
Anybody
still
who
But
started
fantasy-
15 and
half.
20.
Fantasy wasn't okay. All right, fine. We'll do. So then that would be 10 plus 12, 22 points then. So over under, we'll do 22 points for Burrow, and I'm going the under. How about that?
Oh,
Sounds
hey,
good.
we've got a surprise baby.
This is my grandson.
This is
Evan.
Max. Nope, it's Max.
Oh, nice.
Or we can call him Crosby, whichever you want.
Yeah, well, I call him Munster. So
We can't call him Minshew. That doesn't fit. Or Aiden. We can't go quarterback. So we'll call him Crosby. Hi, Crosby.
look, see, say hello.
Hello.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Okay, so we answered that. I'm going to ask you for me. Everybody here would probably start Kirk Cousins over Anthony Richardson this week, right?
Yeah.
I got a
Except for
better
maybe
one.
Mark.
Caleb over Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I think so. Against that Washington secondary, yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Kranis, last question. Pop Douglas or Tolbert in a flex PPR? And then he reminds you all to like and subscribe. So, Justin, Pop Douglas or Tolbert?
Oh man, I guess I'm going to go. I don't like either of their matchups, really, to be honest with you. But guess I'm going to go Tolbert. That Jet secondary is just too good, and the biggest problem that Demario Douglas has is that he's a Patriots wide receiver. So I guess I'm going to go with Tolbert. He's been stepping up with the absence of the old man there. What's his name? He's been out
Brandon
for the last few weeks. So, yeah, Cook.
Brandon Cooks.
So let's just Cooks with Tolbert.
All right. Mark.
I do think May has looked good since he's came in, but I think he spreads the ball around a lot outside of Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry is the only consistent one that's getting the majority of the targets, so I'll probably lean Tolbert just because you don't know. It's going to be up and down with Douglas.
All right. 2 for Tolbert. Rich.
Yeah. So here, quick stat fact. So Douglas, he has 3 games with 9 targets, and then he has 3 games with 3 targets. So split. I mean, I like the high end targets when he gets it, but he's also playing against the Jets this week, and I think it's going to be a game where he has less targets than he normally would and everything. So in this case, in a long bout round, I'm going Tolbert.
How does that target share look with Drake May at quarterback?
He with Drake May, it's 9 targets, 3 targets.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 weeks, then 9 targets. David.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Tolbert.
All right, well, that was a sweep, really. So, we like the targets, but we don't like the team, apparently. Mini Jordan 718 says, Mahomes or Stroud? And this is where we are, gentlemen. Neither one of these options is your top tiers with Nico out and Mahomes with no Rice. But we got to answer the question anyway because it's been asked, and it's a tough question. So I'm going to start with the guy with no hat, Mark.
Man, I'm gonna go Mahomes. Just got another target in the offense. Going against the Raiders, like we've mentioned, I think the Raiders will keep it a little close, so Chiefs may have to score a little more. Yeah, and Stroud
Higgins
just
is
looks
officially
lost
out.
without Nico.
Yeah, Higgins is officially out. So just so you guys know. So we got one Mahomes. Justin.
Yeah, I think part of why Stroud looked bad last week was also because the Packers just played really good defense on him. But he is playing the Colts, where quarterbacks tend to excel. But man, it's so hard to bench Mahomes in this situation with D Hop coming in there. I think it helps open up the middle of the field a little bit more, even if D Hop is out there just as a decoy. So I think, man, yeah, I'm gonna go with Mahomes. So yeah,
All right. Mahomes, go ahead, Rich.
Man, this is crazy. I'm gonna go to the over and under to choose this. Stroud's game is a higher over under, so I'm gonna lean Stroud in this game.
All right, and David.
I'm gonna go Stroud as well.
So that's 2 Stroud, 2 Mahomes.
on you.
I'm going to go ahead and take Mahomes. He hasn't played well all season, but I just had to Google it real quick because I read a stat a while back. Couldn't remember exactly what it was. Mahomes against the Raiders, 66% completion percentage, just under 300 yards, averaging 2.5 touchdowns. Now I know he hasn't played that well this year. It's a different year. It's a different team than it has been, but historically he plays very, very well against the Raiders.
Against everybody.
Well, that's kind of true, but I think I read that his best games have typically been against the Raiders, which, statistically, since they've been bad for a few years. Sorry, Rich. That's probably why. But so I am gonna go with Mahomes, and
I mean, he has to play better against them, and this is, you said sorry, Rich, but realistically, the Raiders play them tough, which is why it's the game I'm excited for this week. So, he has to play up against them because they're actually a challenge for the Chiefs for whatever reason.
Well, Crosby is.
all right. I also want to mention here we have a Patreon question. Madison or Mostert. So I'll start with Justin since it's Dustin, our good friend and Patreon.
So Madison has a tough matchup here, just as I did predict. Madison has taken over the number 1 spot there, but it's still a tough matchup against Kansas City. When I was talking to Dustin earlier, I told him that I was kind of leaning towards Madison just because I wanted to see a week with Tua and Mostert, but Mostert's just been too efficient. The more I looked into the numbers before I hopped on here, I'm going to go with Mostert on this one strictly because of the matchup against Madison. Knowing there's a chance that Madison gets some catches out of the backfield makes it super close to me, but I'm going to go Mostert.
All right, Mostert for Justin. Mark, do you agree?
It was Mostert versus Madison, you said?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I'm going Mostert there.
All right, Rich. That's 3, and then David.
Mostert.
All right, Mostert is a must start. Jerry Badstraw says, "What's up, fellas?"
What's up, Jerry?
And then Bobby says, Bobby says, "I wish I had the stones to play Puka Nacua."
Should have.
Should have.
I started him in like 6 leagues and benched him in 2. Regretted the 2 I benched him.
All right. Justin says you're going to be happy that I'm starting Taylor over Chuba this week. I don't know. I agree. I like Taylor over Chuba this week anyway because Chuba's been playing well, but that offense against that defense does not bode well for me for Chuba.
Yeah, that's a tough.
I have to start Chuba in a couple leagues because of my options. But if this was the week to be worried about him, this would be the week.
Well, look, Bryce Young is starting at quarterback. Leggett, I think, is Leggett out? I believe. Well, Leggett may. I don't know. I know
No,
Deontay Johnson's
Leggett's
out.
like the only one that is playing.
Yeah, so Legate's there, but then Deontay Johnson's out. Thielen's still out. Like that offense is. That offense was in trouble before you had to start Bryce Young. And
Sidebar question: does Jonathan Brooks play at all this season?
Yes.
yeah, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
they get him. I think they get him into games late so that he gets some NFL experience. Why wouldn't you let him play a little bit?
I'm just surprised he hasn't been activated yet, like played yet. So I'm starting to wonder at this point.
Well, I mean,
Without
there's no reason
Googling
for
it.
them to rush him back and everything. But on the same case, like what Jason said, they want to get him some experience and stuff like that. So they're going to take his time. And like I said, they're going to get him in there to get the experience because they want to see what he has and stuff like that too and everything. They just don't have to rush him back because of the way Chuba's been playing.
It's one of the
Because they're
reasons
out of the playoffs already.
Worst to first, right?
they were out of the playoffs before the season started. It's one of the reasons why in the offseason I was kind of saying Brooks is fool's gold because he was probably the best running back in this draft, but you're gonna have to sit with him on your bench for however at least 6 weeks, and then if he came back, they'd be on a team that was so bad that how much is he actually gonna play? But yeah, so and I did just get the hey, it's 11:24. We got a lot of questions to get to, so stop talking, you idiot. Kind of a private message from mom over there. So
It wasn't me this time.
All right. So Bobby Ham says Brock Purdy versus Dallas or Caleb Williams against Washington. I don't know why I can't say that this morning. I'm gonna point to the guy who said we got to speed up. David, go ahead.
I'm going to go Cable Williams.
All right, Cable Williams. That's thumbs
Cable for me
up
too.
to Mark.
Yeah, I guess. I just think San Francisco is going to run all over Dallas. It's just, yeah. So, Caleb.
All right, that's 3 for Caleb, and then Rich.
Hey, the reason why we're in this situation, Jason, is because you weren't here last week, so nobody wanted to jump up and jump on last week and ask questions. They wait till you get back this week to throw all these questions at us. So I'm going to blame that on you. I'm actually going to be the side man out and say Brock Purdy.
Does that means I feel like I should get a raise? I might be entertaining enough to draw a crowd. I don't know.
I'm
let me
gonna
get my
double your
hand.
pay.
You
I'll
step
double your
on my,
pay.
and I'll lift you up.
I appreciate that. Look, well, I mean, Rich is getting a kickback from whatever raise I get. So, Bobby
Double
Ham
of
also
nothing.
says, "There you go." Bobby Ham also says, "Happy Sunday and good morning. Good morning to you as well." Brandon Williams, hey fellas, hope all is well. Flex Chase Brown or Waddle in a PPR. Everybody saying Chase Brown here. All right. Minnie Jordan. Need a running back and a wide receiver. Neighbors, Reed, Mason, and A-Chain. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and do both questions. Rich, go ahead and start us off here. Neighbors.
I am rolling with A-Chain and Neighbors.
A-Chain and Neighbors. David.
Man, I want to say the same thing, but Mason's been too good, and you could run all over Dallas. I'm going to go Mason and Neighbors.
And I'm pretty sure Mark's going to agree with you because he's been talking about San Francisco running the ball for a while here. So
100%.
All right, Neighbors and Mason and Justin.
A-Chain and Reed.
So you are completely different. And so we are 3 on Neighbors. I get to break the tie on Mason and A-Chain. I'm going to take Mason here. So it's Neighbors and Mason. Dina says good morning. Good morning, Dina. Jimmy says, I have Stroud and Purdy to decide to play this week. Who should I play? David.
I'm going to go Stroud.
Stroud. Justin?
Oh. Give me Stroud.
That's 2. Mark?
Stroud. I feel like we've
And-
been just shitting on Purdy all episode long.
Which means he's going to play fantastic. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, Waddle too. Waddle's also going to blow up.
Purdy's going to have one. So here's what's going to happen, because Mark's going to be right, and they're going to run all over Dallas. What's going to happen is they're going to get down to the 5, and Kittle's going to have 4 damn touchdowns with like a 6 yards total.
But we can still say Purdy had a bad game because he didn't have 250 yardage.
There you go.
Well, against that defense, sure, yeah.
Rich.
I'm going Purdy.
All right, so that is 1 for Purdy, and the rest of you guys were on Stroud. Dustin says, "Are we starting H?" Oh yeah, okay. This changes that question a little bit, so let's ask it again. He's already starting A-Chain. This was the question that we answered from the private chat. He's already starting A-Chain. Does he actually play Mostert too, or do you switch to Madison with him starting A-Chain?
I still go
does that
Mostert.
Okay? Mostert there.
I never understood why that changes the question. Is it Mostert or is it Madison? Who's going to score more? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get people say that it changes the question because what if they have a bad game? Well, what if they would have had a bad game had he not been starting HN? Like, it's still like, yeah.
Well, I think it's hedging your bet on a down Miami week. Like, if they have a bad week, then both of those running backs have a bad week. And yes, you can also say that you shouldn't have started Mostert in the first place. But you're putting all your eggs in one offensive basket here versus splitting it. I think that's why the question changes.
I don't know if it was mentioned the first time we asked the question, but I thought the PPR is what changes it for me. If that was asked earlier, I missed it. I would probably go Madison and PPR over Mostert.
So Madison over Mostert, and then Rich.
PPR doesn't change anything. Mostert's a passing running back. I think the fact that A-Chain and Mostert and Tua coming back, they're probably going to lean more heavily on these two and stuff like that, which is going to lead to more valued receptions for Tyreek and Waddle. But this is probably one reason why I'm not playing Waddle, due to the fact that they're probably going to run more with these running backs, and he can drop them off to both of them.
All right, so 3 out of the 4 have both running backs, and that's fine.
I was just going to say, Mostert has 4 receptions on the year.
He also hasn't played that much this year. He can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah,
he is a good receiving back. He's not their receiving back, right? A-Chain is their receiving back.
I think when A-Chain's healthy, they want him in there on the passing plays.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I also agree with Rich that Mostert can do it. So it'll, and with Tua I think he's going to try and get rid of the ball quickly. They play better when he does that anyway. So any down can be a passing down in that offense with Tua. So I like Mostert this week, but I can't understand why it would change the question, especially since I'm the one that said it changes the question. Brandon says, pick 2, Harrison Jr., Devonta, Lockett, or D-Hop. Mark.
Devontae for me for sure. I'm gonna go Lockett with DK being out. I think he sees a little more target share. Let's go Devontae and Lockett.
That's interesting, especially because you said Geno sucks. Go ahead, David.
I agree entirely. Devontae and Lockett.
To clarify, Geno could still throw 3 interceptions and still have to throw the ball the rest of the game.
Okay, and then Justin.
I'm going with Devonta and Harrison.
Okay, Devonta and Harrison, and then Rich.
Devontae and Lockett.
All right, that's 3 for Devonta and Lockett, 1 for Devonta and Harrison. Bobby Ham says pick a tight end and a flex. We'll start with tight end here. Otten or Laporta. And how gross is that? How gross is that after this point of the season that's where we are with Sam Laporta? But here we are, and David, I'm going to let you answer that one first.
I'm going to go Otten.
Wow. The number 1 tight end last year, and we're going with Otten. All right, Justin.
I mean, yeah, Laporta's got a really tough matchup this week. It's kind of hard. Like he only has one PPR game in double digits all season, and that was one catch. It
For
just
one
happened to be a
touchdown.
long touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's really that difficult with all the pieces missing there at Tampa Bay. I'm going Otten as well.
Can I also mention before we get Jamison Williams is now out.
That's what I was
for
going to
2
say.
games. Sorry for stepping on you there, Rich. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, I'm going to have some options and everything, but I think the one reason why Laporte has been down is because of the emergence of Jamison Williams and everything. So with Williamson out for the suspension and everything, man, if I had Laporta, wherever I had him, I'd be plugging him. Obviously, you're going to be plugging him in if that's who you have, but I would be so much more confident now, at least for the next 2 weeks and stuff like that with Laporta. I'd be willing to put board bet that he doesn't score less than 15 fantasy points the next 2 weeks with Jamison Williams out and everything.
I will take that bet. I'll take that bet regardless of this question.
15 points combined or 15 points each week?
15 fantasy points, Laporta, each week.
Oh,
I'll take that bet.
Yeah.
I'll take the under on 2 weeks of Laporta getting 15. With that said, that means you're probably taking him over Otten. If you think
I am, it's close, but I like his availability with Jamison out and stuff like that. He's going to have more targets the next 2 weeks.
All right, so that's 2-1 right now. Mark.
Just saw Mason Rudolph's officially active, Will Levis inactive. I'm going Otten. He had 10 targets last week. That's pretty close to the amount of targets Laporta has seen all season. So I just like the opportunity that Otten I think is going to have.
I do expect that to spread out some more now that they've had some time to game plan without Godwin and Evans. But I mean, 10 targets,
8, 9, 6 targets. He's getting a lot of targets, and
not just that, but like those 10 last week, the majority of those were in the fourth quarter. It was a lot to Otten at the end. So that over a whole game, I think he'll end up with a bunch. Go ahead, Justin.
I think there's a lot more to it too, because like last week against the Vikings, that Vikings defense, the way you beat them is in the air. And even with Jamison Williams there the whole game, he had one catch for -4 yards, and that still didn't help Laporta to have a good game. And against tight ends, the Vikings are also weak. I think the idea here is that they're so run heavy this year that they work on efficiency for the passing game, and Laporta's just been a blocker for way too many downs. I don't think that they have to use him, so they're not gonna use him. So for me, I'm definitely taking that board bet with Rich also.
All right. Let's see. What's up, boys?
I'm going to answer the second one.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Going back to it. Don't want to short shrift Bobby here. And then we need Worthy Pearsall or drop Pearsall for Tillman, Watson, or Wicks. He already has Reed. So we'll start with David since he reminded me.
I'm going to go Pearsall here.
Okay, Pearsall. Rich?
Yeah, I'm going Pearsall here too, but I'm just going to throw this out there too. If you have the option to drop somebody else to pick up Tillman, I would look at that option. I just don't know what the rest of your team looks like. I think Tillman is going to be with Cooper out and everything. I think he's going to have some good games the rest of the season.
Well, let me ask you then, would you drop Worthy for Tillman?
I would, but I obviously, you guys, I'm a Raiders fan, and I just don't believe in Worthy. So,
yeah, I've not been on Worthy all year either. So, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I'd probably drop him for Tillman. Tillman's going to have more opportunity. But Rich, my question for you is, since you went with Laporta, you could also do Otten as the flex option here. Are you still going Pearsall over Otten?
Actually, no, I'd go both tight ends.
Yeah, because I was kind of leaning
now
towards
that you say that, yeah,
as the flex. I would probably play both tight ends.
Let me fall back real quick. Look, I'm still 100% on the board with Laporta and everything, but the part I missed was it being a half point PPR. Otten is going to have more receptions than Laporta. Look, I'm just telling you, I like Laporte and everything, but I'd actually run with both tight ends here.
All right. And look, I'll give you 15 points and half. I'd actually probably give you 15 points in both games on the board bet for a full PPR. I'm fine with that too. I don't think Laporta hits that either.
Well, I apologize. That's why I was thinking full PPR, but I'll still stay with the board bet. So
I made it full PPR on the board bet
Full
when we made it.
PPR is completely fine with me too.
Yeah.
All right. That's how down Laporta's been for all of us. Mark, go ahead.
So I know I said I like Purcell later on in the season, but I think I'm dropping him here for Tillman, knowing that Winston's going to be the quarterback going forward and they don't have a lot of wide receiving options over there. We know Winston can throw a lot of interceptions, but we do know he's going to continue to chuck the ball and somebody's going to have to catch those passes. So I like picking up Tillman here, and I'd start Otten with Tillman.
Is it weird to anybody else that Jameis Winston seemingly is the last option for them? Like, they went.
It's kind of odd.
It really, like, he must be a bad teammate or something, because every time he's on the field, he chucks the ball around, and it looks okay, but nobody wants to start the guy.
The one thing I'll say about last week is I think the reason they made him inactive, and it's a stupid reason, but I think they wanted to take the pressure off of fans wanting to play somebody over Watson. Like, because with the money they were paying Watson, they were never going to bench him. Like, they have no way out really with him. So I think with all the drama of, do we play Winston over him, I think they just took that option out. But now it's gone, they're playing him obviously over what's his face.
I've got to ask this question because I wasn't watching the game as it was happening, because for one, I don't watch Browns games. I refuse. I won't do it. But also, I was on vacation, so I was only half paying attention. If a player is listed as inactive, then he cannot play that game. And everybody keeps talking about how he was listed as inactive, but he came in and played the fourth quarter.
He's the emergency. So for QBs, the third quarterback inactive can come in an emergency. So their quarterback.
Then my next question is, like, was he in street clothes and he ran into the locker room and got dressed up?
No, quarterbacks are allowed to get dressed even if they're technically the third emergency quarterback. It's something they did a couple years ago after COVID, when the Broncos had to start like a wide receiver or something.
Right. I remember now. Okay.
Yeah, it was a change that they made after COVID. So
okay, I got you.
So that was why.
That.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see.
Because in my mind, it was a lot more funny to see him running into the locker room with a hot dog in his mouth, trying to hurry up and put his pads on. If you had said crabs, wow, the joke would have been even better. So, to answer this, we had one for Pearsall, we had one for drop Pearsall, pick up Tillman, we had two for flex both tight ends. So flexing both tight ends was the winner on that one. T-Man Yo says Pollard, Bigsby, or Rico in the flex. Anybody not going Bigsby?
Nope.
All right. So T-Man, the whole team here is going to take Bigsby on that one.
I just want it to be known that I didn't realize that was one question up there. I thought it was not that one, the one before. I totally also go both tight ends flex. For the spreadsheet afterwards, I thought it was two separate questions.
Yeah, and it's because of the way I asked it. So three, then three out of the four wanted both tight ends. Kevin Blevin says, thanks for being here. What's y'all's opinion on picking up Dalvin Cook?
I literally just did that in Frank while we were discussing that last question. I only have two running backs and I had two wide receivers for, ironically, the Colts. So I dropped one of them to pick up Dalvin Cook for, the long haul.
Which Colts wide receiver did you drop for Dalvin Cook?
Pierce.
Okay, that's a board bet. Frank scoring. I would take Alec Pierce for the rest of the season.
For me,
I probably would too. I needed another running back, and I already have
okay. I see what you're
wide
saying.
receiver.
All
So
right. I guess I won't slap your head for this one.
For me, I just can't. I can't imagine the waiver wire being that thin and me having that bad of players to drop for Dalvin Cook.
I mean, the thing is in most of my leagues, Justice Hill, not Dynasty, obviously, but like most of my redraft leagues, Justice Hill is out there, and the guy gets a baseline of points every week. Like, I'm taking Justice Hill out there over Dalvin Cook any day of the week. Like, and I'm in some pretty competitive leagues with some of these animals. So if Justice Hill is out there in a lot of leagues, he's probably out there in yours too. So
does the potential return of Keaton Mitchell worry you at all?
I don't see Keaton Mitchell as the receiving back, right? Like he wasn't a receiving back last year. He was great on the ground. Like, and I don't really see him eating into Derrick Henry's load other than to take some carries off, from keeping Henry from getting hurt. So not so much, no, because like Justice Hill just has a different skill set. He's in there for different plays.
Gotcha.
But that's I mean, you guys can feel free to disagree with me. Like,
yeah, no, Keaton Mitchell only had just over 1 reception per game last year in the 6 games he played, or 7 games. So you're probably right. I was just curious. He was just one of those flashy guys that I just loved the talent when he was out there. So, but you're right. He's definitely not going to take very much away from Derrick Henry.
Like I said, only except the fact that they don't want to run Derrick Henry into the ground before the playoff, right? Like that's where you could lose a couple of carries when they get up big, and instead of salting the game with Derrick Henry, you might see Keaton Mitchell out there a little bit, and that would be disappointing for everybody who's got Henry. Let's see. Oh, this one, he says ugh, and I agree with him here, because the first thing I thought when I read this question is ugh. Dubs, Shakir, or Pittman? And because Pittman's involved, I'm going to start with Justin.
Dubs. Trying to make it quick for you.
That's 2, because I got David nodding. Mark?
Pittman.
Okay, Pittman, and then Rich.
Shakir.
All right, 2 for Dubs, 1 for Shakir, 1 for Pittman. Nate says Hunter Henry or Jake Ferguson. And do I bench one to play Wan'Dale, Zach Moss, Worthy, or Shakir? So I guess he's starting both Hunter Henry and Jake Ferguson.
Do I bench one to play Wan'Dale? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I mean, I would be. Is anybody taking Jake Ferguson over Hunter Henry?
Yeah, I mean,
okay, so
I was gonna phrase that I'd be starting Hunter Henry over a lot of tight ends. Jake Ferguson's not one of them, though.
Yeah, okay, not this week. There's a lot of weeks I will, but not this week.
All right, so just 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
3 out of 4 had Jake Ferguson. Now, do you play Hunter Henry? I'm assuming that's the answer. The way this is getting asked. Do you play Hunter Henry over Wan'Dale Robinson, Zach Moss, Worthy, or Shakir? I think Rich is probably going to say Shakir, right?
I'm actually going to say keep both tight ends.
All right, both tight ends for Rich. David?
I'd sit Ferguson for Shakir.
Okay, so but we're starting Ferguson anyway. Justin?
I think I'm going to start both tight ends. Man, I don't know. Shakir is just like that Mr. Consistent. Like, he's gonna get you double digits. Yeah. I'll roll with Shakir. I'll roll with Shakir as my flex.
I'd just like to say that the week I lost to you, Shakir did not get me double digits, and Lazard on my bench would have won me the matchup. Just saying.
That was the week they played each other then, because he went up against.
It was.
So, yeah.
All right. So 2 for Shakir, 2 for, and then Jake Ferguson. Mark.
I'll say this. If it's PPR, I'm going Henry. If it's not PPR, I'm going to go Shakir.
Okay.
Well, so I always assume PPR if it doesn't say otherwise.
All right. So then Shakir and Ferguson would be the answer, assuming PPR. Nate got Walker, Hunt, Diggs, and James Conner in right now. Would you bench any for Tank Bigsby, Hubbard, Brian Thomas, Devontae Smith? Wow, what a team. What a team. Anybody benching? So this puts me in an interesting. Anybody benching Diggs for any of these guys?
That's kind of the one that I was thinking about. If I did bench one, it would have to be Diggs.
I'd bench Diggs this week for Devontae Smith. I'm just very high on Smith this week.
All right. David looks worried down there, so I'm going to give David a chance to answer.
I think I'd leave it the same.
Okay,
if I
he's
bench him for anybody, it would be Bigsby.
All right. So, one the same. Well, I'll say one the same.
Yeah, I would. Diggs for Bigsby.
Diggs for Bigsby. Got it.
All
All right. Rich.
Yeah, I'd keep it the same, and if I did, it would be Diggs for Smith.
Okay, and then Justin.
I really want to say Bigsby for Diggs, but I kind of feel like it's close enough that Nate, I would just trust your gut with it. Just leave it the same.
All right. Nate says, assume Bowers over Kelsey at this point. I think everybody's going to say yes.
And Bowers over all the tight ends.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second.
Did you not see that game last week? Come on.
Yes. Yeah, we'll start Bowers. No, I didn't. Remember, I was kind of out, so that's why I had to look at something.
We basically just answered. No. Brian Thomas is up there.
The last
Higgins
one
is officially out. I wouldn't start Waddle over any of them. I would start Devonta Smith over Brian Thomas.
Yeah, Brian Thomas against Green Bay, and I have Brian Thomas starting because I don't have a lot of other options, but Brian Thomas against Green Bay kind of scares me a little bit.
So this question is pretty much just Smith or Waddle, because he's saying he has all the others already in.
Smith.
Well, no,
or
I think he's saying
any of those.
Yeah.
I think he's saying he's playing Brian Thomas, Hunt, James Cook, James Conner. Would you start Higgins, Devontae Smith, or Waddle over any of those guys? And I think
I got you.
So I think we're all talking about playing Devonta Smith over Brian Thomas. Everybody agree there?
Yeah.
Is that the answer?
No. I'm going to leave it the same.
Okay, you're leaving it the same, and then the other three guys are doing Devonta Smith over Brian Thomas.
Correct.
All right. George, we told that joke a little while ago. 2 PPR. Mixon, Mason, Pollard, Dobbins, Montgomery. Wow, that is a good problem to have.
I think this is going to be so mixed between the five of us. I think this is a tough question to ask for because of the options. Because obviously, I'm going to stick with what I've been saying. I'm always going to say Montgomery because I've been picking over him over a lot of these guys. But Mixon is the number one choice for me out of this group, and then Montgomery.
All right, Mixon and Montgomery. David?
I'm going to go Mason and Dobbins.
Mason and Dobbins, all right. Justin?
Mixon and Mason.
Mixon and Mason, so 2 for Mason, 2 for Mixon.
Yeah. I can't bench Mixon after what he's done since he's come back.
So Mixon is in for sure. That's 3.
Yeah. And then probably Mason. I like Mason and Dobbins, but like I've been saying, I think San Francisco's run all over Dallas. So I'm going to go Mason.
All right. So that's, yeah. So the answer is going to end up being Mixon and Mason for the majority.
Gnarly running back room.
George.
Chase Brown over Derrick Henry, David and Mark probably.
It's close, but I think I'm still going Henry.
Very close.
Andrew Miller says, listen, according to Mark earlier, Joe Burrow is going to have a bad game because Chase Brown has 200 plus yards. So I know Mark.
I thought that's where y'all were going. That's why.
Andrew Miller says, if T. Higgins is out, he is. Christian Watson or Ladd McConkey. Isn't Ladd McConkey dealing with an injury too? Let me go look that up, but you guys go ahead.
He is questionable with the hip, but he is expected to play.
Okay.
I'm going to go with McConkey.
McConkey
McConkey here.
there.
It just feels like Watson has so much talent, but it feels like he's the odd man out most weeks between the rest of the weapons there.
I'm going Watson for this one reason. Like, if Watson has a bad game, what are you missing out on McConkey? 4 or 5 points. I'd rather take a risk that Watson catches a touchdown and lose out on those 4 or 5 points.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Today.
So that's 2 and 2. I will agree with that logic. Like, yeah, 3 for Watson and then 1 for Lad McConkey. Follow-up question for the flex spot PPR. So we're starting Christian Watson. So you have the option of tank. Sorry, tank or I guess the question for me there would be tank or Mostert. Is everybody going tank?
It's tank, yeah. ETN's out. Mostert still has A-Chain to deal with. I'm going tank.
Yeah. Mostert is the only other close one, but I think it's tank pretty easily.
All right. This is one I'm going to start with Mark on. Rashad White or Chase Brown?
Ooh. I'm going to go Chase Brown. I think it is close. But I mentioned it earlier. If Tampa can't throw the ball, I think Rashad White's going to have a hard time today.
All right. Rich.
Look, I'm going Rashad White, but guys, I want to go back. I'm trying not to slow this down, but look, I got to go back to this question with McConkey. 7 targets, 4 targets, 6 targets, 7 targets, 8 targets, 7 targets. This has been his target log.
Skip the targets. Give me the points.
Fantasy points per game.
14 points, 4, 7, 17, 8, 9. Look, he's more on the high end, around 10 points and everything.
When he scores a touchdown.
What league am I?
He's only scored 2 touchdowns.
Oh,
right. Well, I guess the 8 and 9 is close.
Yeah. So I'm just throwing it out there and stuff like that. McConkey's is a better option in most cases, even though you said he was only scoring 4 points and stuff like that a game. It's not the case.
If
I was looking at my other leagues that aren't
is
PPR.
exciting. If 8 or 10 points without a touchdown is exciting to you, then sure.
Hey, what I always say, Justin, I want someone that's consistently going to bring me 10 points with the rest of my team. That's how I've always been and stuff like that. And it never fails for me.
He's only got you 10 points 2 weeks.
I mean, I know it has to. I know you haven't been the champion in most of the leagues I've been in, so it fails sometimes.
When you're in as many leagues as we are, we're not going to always be the champion in every league and stuff like that. I'm just saying it does fail if I make the playoffs.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's very fair. Back to this one. Who already went? Because we went on a tangent here. I know one. I
didn't go, but you already know who I'm going. So
yeah, you're taking. So it's 2 for Chase, 1 for Rashad White. Who? I'm
going White for sure.
So that was 2 for White, 2 for Chase, and this is tough for me because I'm sort of the Justin of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where I almost never choose the Bucs, but I also am pretty anti Chase Brown. I'm trying to stick with what I'm going to go ahead and say Rashad White because I think they need him to catch the ball out of the backfield with their other weapons being hurt. And so Rashad White there.
Chase Brown. That's a tough stance to stay in.
I mean, it's been okay most of the year. T. Higgins, questionable. No, he's out. So David Njoku's the answer there. Now, from Uncle Steve, do I steal Patrick Mahomes or Bo Nix when I win?
He's not allowed to ask this question because he's the one that keeps saying that Bo Nix sucks. So no, you have to get rid of Bo Nix. You cannot steal Bo Nix. You don't deserve Bo Nix, who's been very good for me as a QB2 for the last few weeks. Bo Nix has proven you wrong, George.
Dustin says, Tua or Nix? I'm pretty sure we answered this earlier, but I don't remember what the answer was. I think it ended up being Tua with this group, but I'll ask it again. Is it Tua for you guys?
Right. Yes.
All right. Trade here is Devontae Smith for Brian Robinson Jr. overpaying. So he's giving up Devonta Smith. He'd be picking up Brian Robinson Jr. With Puka back, I'll have Puka, Reed, Garrett Wilson in a 3 wide receiver league. My running backs are Connor, Mostert. I'm 3 and 4. Would you give up?
I'm absolutely doing that trade. To
Yeah.
be able to put Brian Thomas in on a weekly basis over Mostert and still have Puka, Reed, and Wilson. Yeah, I like that.
And Mostert still gives you a very serviceable flex during the bye weeks. So
Yeah.
100%.
I like it.
All right. So we're doing that trade. Chuba or Rashad White in half PPR? David?
Cuba.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's fine. Justin says Chuba.
Trying to help you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Chuba too. It's closer than I want it to be, but just White's not the only monster to feed back there.
All right. Rich, nodding. Okay, so that's 3 for Chuba and then Mark.
Yeah, I'm going Chuba. I just want to see a week with Tampa's new offense to see what they're able to do before trusting any of them.
I'm a little worried about Bucky Irving this week because he did have an issue with his toe throughout the week, and we got some reports a couple of days ago he wasn't going to play, and then he practiced on Friday. So I'll be interested to see how much Bucky Irving's actually involved in the game. But it was a clean sweep here for Chuba. Dustin says, thank you for everything we do. Well, thank you for listening and watching every week, Dustin. We truly appreciate it. Great every week to get to answer your questions. Shades 721. Standard scoring. I need 3. JT, JK, Mason, or Gibbs. Oh, got to sit one of these guys. David's nodding, thinking thoughtfully, so I'm going to go with him first.
Yeah, I'm sitting JT.
All right, sitting JT. So is Justin. Mark.
I'm going JT, JK, and Mason.
Okay, so we're sitting Gibbs.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll with Justin and David on this one.
All right. And then the Purdy, Caleb Williams, or Tua question. Start with Justin.
I'm gonna start Tua out of these options.
Same.
Tua there. Same with Rich. Mark is agreeing, and David.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Tua too.
All right, Tua for everybody. Pick up Tillman or McMillan. Justin's nodding. So
Tillman.
If
we're talking, see, like I said, McMillan's going to have his games, and you're going to wish you would have picked him up. But I think Tillman is going to be more consistent and even better this week as well.
All right, that's 2 for Tillman.
Tillman pretty easily for me.
Okay, that's 3. And David, I know you were higher on McMillan.
Yeah, and I'm going McMillan. I like that Tillman had a lot of targets last week. I just don't like anything in that offense at all. So I'd rather go with the quarterback who's one of the, I think in some of my leagues, he's the second leading quarterback in fantasy points throwing to me than the plethora of garbage that Cleveland has run out there.
Dude, I think Cleveland Browns offense is going to be better for the rest of the season than what everybody was looking at. So I like the options in Cleveland going forward.
Nick Chubb's the only one I'm even touching. Maybe Njoku.
Well, so that was 3. That was 3 for Tillman, 1 passionate David for McMillan. George says Tony Pollard or JT, and that's in Scott Fishbowl scoring. Justin, I got it. I've started with you a lot, but it's a Colt, so I gotta go with you first.
Pollard.
All right. I could almost just pick against every Colt and not go to Justin on these questions. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, it's JT for me, especially when you say Scott Fishbowl scoring because you get points per carry.
And first down.
Yeah, so JT.
All right. 4 carries will probably all be first downs.
You want to take a board bet on 4 carries? Even you don't believe.
I'm being facetious, but it'll be a lot less than you think.
Rich.
Man. I'm going to take Tony Pollard in this one.
All right. And Dave.
I'm going to take Tony Pollard as well.
So that was 3 for Pollard, 1 for JT. And we're not just doing that to screw with George, right? I just want to double check.
It's the only reason why we're doing it.
Dustin says Packers or Washington defense, asking for my uncle. I'll start with Dave here.
Packers or Washington defense? Packers.
All right, Mark.
Packers.
Rich.
Packers, sorry.
All right, that's 3, and then Justin.
Packers. Not even close, really.
Yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to turn the ball over a few times here, so I think the Packers are a good call.
The Packers are a top 5 defense in almost every format, by the way.
Yeah. WL Music says, "Hey guys, half PPR, need 2. We'll just leave the first
this
one
is our
off.
man Wyatt.
So Wyatt, Kirk, Bateman, Mostert, Dowdle. I'm not even going to dignify the first one for Justin's sake, and I'll start with Rich.
I'm going Sutton and Bateman.
Sutton and Bateman. Wow, I didn't dignify it, and he did.
I
David.
am too.
Sutton and Bateman, that's 2. All right. Justin.
Bateman and Mostert.
Bateman and Mostert, Mark.
I'm going to go Kirk and Mostert.
All right, so it's Sutton and Bateman because they both had 2. I feel like we just gave him a gross answer. All right, Ramsaholic says, and we are running a little long here, but I am going to answer all these questions and then we'll get out as soon as we're done with that. So if you guys want to do some speed rounds, so we can get to all of these. Ramsaholic, Fleck, Shepard, Bigsby, Boyd, or Madison. David already said Bigsby. Rich.
Yeah, I'm going to take Bigsby too.
2 Bigsby. Mark.
Bigsby. Go Rams.
Justin.
Oh, yeah, I'll go Bigsby.
Wyatt, pick 1, Tillman or Pearsall.
Or Pittman.
Or Pittman, sorry. Justin.
No, you were right the first time. Tillman.
Tillman, David.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the second half. It's Pittman for me.
Pittman. Mark is probably Pittman.
No, Tillman, actually.
All right, Tillman, and then Rich.
I'll go Tillman.
All right, Tillman. It is Flex, Bigsby, or Brown. Mark.
Brown.
David.
Brown.
What? No, guys.
Justin.
They've got rose-colored glasses on.
They do. I agree with you, Justin. I agree.
This is obviously
Okay, so you-
Bigsby. It's not even close. Come on.
Okay, so 3-2 Bigsby. Moving on. I know how the rest of that's going to go. So 3-2 Bigsby. A-Chain or Bigsby, half PPR. Anybody not going Bigsby?
I'm going
I
A-Chain.
think I'm going to go A-Chain.
Bigsby.
Okay, so all right, so 3 out of the 4 going A-Chain. Wyatt says sit 1, Dowdle, Kirk, Adunze.
Dowdle.
Okay,
Dowdle.
Mark
Oh,
Dowdle.
yeah, jumper gun, but
Oh, sorry. Dowdle, Kirk. Okay. Justin.
I
To
think,
sit 1.
Yeah, I think I'm going to sit Christian Kirk.
Okay. 2 for Kirk. Rich.
Daddle.
So that's a tie. I'm going to sit Rico Dowdle, and that'll break the tie. Did we cover Otten and Laporta? Dustin, I think your question, we started both Otten and Laporta, and we benched your other flex options.
And I think
But
the consensus was Otten over Laporta if it's those two.
that's correct. So we did Otten over Laporta, but we wanted to start both Otten and Laporta over your other options. Bobby Ham says, pick 2 flex. Pollard, Dobbins, Montgomery, London, Dubs. Anybody not starting London? You have to start London Falcons, against the Buccaneers, right? All right.
Yeah.
So now
Quick for me,
Pollard,
London
Dobbins,
Montgomery.
London, Montgomery. Go ahead. All right, David.
London Dobbins.
London Dobbins. All right. Justin.
London and Dobbins.
That's 2. And
that's 3. London Dobbins.
London Dobbins. Chris says, I'm living and dying with Mark and Chase Brown.
See, this guy knows. This guy knows. He knows what's up.
Mostly dying.
George Reed says Bo Nix is Bortles 2.0, and yet he's still going to steal him. It's crazy to start White over Gibbs right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they need White, but Gibbs is a much better player with much better situation. Dustin says JT, just kidding, or Dobbins. Ha 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 ha. I mean, I guarantee you Justin says Dobbins.
Yes, definitely. JK over JT for sure. And I'm not JKing.
Anybody else?
No, it's Dobbins.
Okay. It's Dobbins? Everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Dustin was making a joke towards me on that one, but yeah.
You went Pollard over JT. Would you do Mostert over JT then? SFB scoring. Where's the line?
No, I'd probably still go with JT there just because of the split, that three-headed monster with Miami. So I think I would still go JT. He's going to take himself out a lot, but
we found Justin's line.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there.
All right. That trade was rejected. I have Benson to back up Connor, but should I drop Benson for guys like Roshan Johnson or McLaughlin?
No.
Me personally, no.
Nope.
No, Connor's due for his yearly injury. I hate to say that, but he gets one for a couple of games every year, and then Benson will be a good play for those couple weeks.
I was going to say, in a dynasty, absolutely not. Even in a redraft, I'm not dropping.
You're only starting Roshan or McLaughlin if somebody ahead of them gets hurt. You're only starting Benson if Connor gets hurt. So you may as well keep the guy that you're going to start if your guy gets hurt in this situation.
Yeah, and then you don't have to either waste fab or your waiver position to pick somebody up. So I like that.
If you have a super deep running back group, then you can do that and hope that you get somebody else's backup. That's what I usually do, but I usually have pretty deep running back rooms.
I think that was the league in which he was trying to get Brian Robinson, so I don't think he's shallow at running back. So I think I stay pat there. And then George Reed, finally, the last one, JT or Chase Brown. Justin. I want to go with Justin on this one.
Absolutely, go with Justin on this one.
No, JT is still over that line because Mostert's over Chase Brown.
There we go.
That's a pretty no, JT's still
okay. So it's 2-1 Chase Brown to Taylor. It's 2-1. Rich. No, you're muted.
Yeah, I'm going JT.
All right, so now it's 2-2, and I'm going to say JT. Why not? Because I love you guys.
I'm going JT as well. I'm
not going JT.
It's 3-1.
I have JT pretty high, so I'm going JT.
I'm so disappointed in you, Mark.
I know. It is what it is. I had to do it.
Can I be the Chase Brown guy now? Because I went
you
Chase
are
Brown.
You are the Chase Brown guy now. Mark,
Chase Brown or Bijan?
Oh, it's Bijan. Sorry, I was laughing at George's next comment.
Okay. George's next comment, by the way, that's not a real question because I don't have any Chase Brown because I know better.
We know George. We know
George.
because I know that.
George doesn't like to score fantasy points.
And then Bobby says, thank you all and hope you guys win. Well, I can tell you if we were at the baby shower, we'd all be sad, but the baby shower would be more fun. I'm going to go enjoy fun. You know, here's the funny thing. George's team is finally relevant again for the first time in several weeks, and he gets to be at a baby shower instead of watching Tua. So with that said, guys, I do want to
should have done the show from the baby shower.
Baby shower. Yeah, live from the baby shower. I do want to thank everybody for watching, listening, liking, and subscribing. We'll go over, if we have too many questions, we'll go over a little bit because we used to close this thing out at 12:30, and so we'll go over a little bit to make sure we can still have a good conversation on these questions and not short shrift anybody who's been waiting to hear their questions answered. So thank you guys if you did ask, or if you just popped in to watch, probably like my son. I appreciate you guys all watching this. Remember, patreon.com/toilets to titles. Patreon.com/toilets to titles. You too can go to a baby shower with George at the highest tier if that's what you want to do instead of watching football. Oh yeah, and then to be fair, Dustin said with all the babies we have, this show is turning into a baby shower. So I kind of agree. Mark, you had your finger up.
Yeah, I just wanted to give Rich some props in first place in our staff league right now at 5-2.
Yeah,
But
'cause
by
he beat
doing
me
so,
this
it
past week.
also allowed me to point out David and Jason sitting down at 2 and 5.
I do want to mention that Rich, Justin wants you to stick around after the show if you didn't see it in the private chat. And I also want to give Dave a chance to rep his card breaks.
Yeah, hey, we do card breaks over on Facebook, Genesis Card Breaks. Look us up. We just did UFC, our first UFC. We've been breaking into MLB and NBA. Our first UFC, we got a 1-of-1 on-card auto of.
If you're showing it, we can't see it. You're frozen.
I was going to
Dave.
say, how are you talking without moving your lips at all? Just with a big smile on your face.
Ventriloquist.
Pretty impressive.
I'm good like that.
But yeah, so check his card breaks. There it is. There he goes. He started moving. We
He's
put him
back.
up.
He's moving.
So check out Dave and his card breaks if you like cards. Because I've been a part of a few of them, haven't won nothing, but people in there did win, and I'm just jealous of them. So, with that, also check out our Tuesday night, our title show, Toilets to Titles. I still think it needs a name. But
yeah, it's called Toilets to Titles.
I mean, is it though? And then always Friday night, this guy is injured. Plus any other shows we do throughout the week, and then of course come right back here Sunday at 10 a.m. where you get all your start sit answers question. That's probably not the way you say that. All your start sit questions answered. Thank you guys. Thank you guys, and good luck this week. We will see you next time.